parents and saying, hey, folks, I'm not dumb. I recognize that 12 weeks ago, 19 kids who look just like me were slaughtered in their classroom. There are 2 teachers who'd already sacrificed the best years of their lives to connect with those kids, were willing to lose their lives to try to protect them. But they were up against a weapon first engineered and designed and sold to the United States military for use in Vietnam, to strike and kill an enemy soldier at 500 yards, to penetrate a steel helmet and to knock him down dead. That same weapon used against kids at 5 feet with no helmet on their head. Only way you can identify their bodies is by the shoes that they are wearing or a DNA swab if you can get one. Now those kids are asking us, and for me, that's a judgment I fear more than any other on this earth. In heaven, it's a different story, but on this earth, it's my kids. They're asking us, what are you going to do about it? Are we supposed to sacrifice ourselves for your inaction, or for what scores political points, or for a special interest or a lobby who's making money off the fact that 5 of the worst mass shootings in U.S. history have taken place in the last 5 years right here in the state of Texas, Uvalde being just but the latest. Here's what I propose for those kids. We're all Texans. We all grew up with firearms in the household. I'm no exception. My great-uncle Raymond, who was a sheriff's deputy, who was captain at the El Paso County Jail, he was also the Marksman's Award winner in that department. So he insisted on teaching me and my 2 sisters how to use a gun and the responsibility of owning one. It's probably your education as well. It's the same one that we're given to our 3 kids today in our home. But the fact that in Texas, an 18-year-old can walk into a gun store and buy not 1, but 2 of those AR-15s and hundreds of rounds of ammunition, and it is perfectly legal. The fact that he can be sending signals in so many directions so strongly that his friends call him the school shooter before he ever walks into a school and shoots anyone. And we can do nothing about it. Well, that's an indictment on all of us. Not one political party, not just the gun manufacturers, not even just that man who perpetrated this god-awful crime and tragedy. On all of us until we change it and make it better. These are some things that you have proposed as I've listened to you across the state. It doesn't come from me, it doesn't come from my political party. It comes from Texans, gun owners, non-gun owners alike. 1, at a minimum, let's raise the age of purchase for an AR-15 from 18 to 21. Will it stop every instance of violence with this weapon war? It will not. But let not that admission stop us from saving lives and stopping a tragedy like Uvalde, because some of you will ask, and this is a legitimate question, hey Beto, that sounds great, but criminals don't follow the law. This shooter in Uvalde did not try to acquire those AR-15s when he was 16, when he was 17. He patiently waited till his 18th birthday, literally, and then went in, because that was the law of the land. Raise it to 21, and in that instance, at least, we would have purchased 3 more years for some kind of intervention in that young man's life. A red flag law is another idea I've heard as I've traveled the state of Texas. This says, if you have that firearm, and you're talking about killing yourself, killing your spouse, your boyfriend, your girlfriend, somebody at school, somebody at the workplace, people in your community, through due process, we can intervene, remove that firearm from the household until legitimate concerns have been addressed, and then return that firearm to its rightful owner. Will this work? I mentioned in Uvalde, this guy was sending off signals, red flags, that his friends in the community were reading. There's just no law in the books to allow law enforcement to intervene. When 23 of our neighbors in El Paso were gunned down in a Walmart the Saturday before school started in 2019 by a guy who said he was coming to repel the invasion of Hispanics, this invasion he's warned about repeatedly by the former president and the current governor. When that AK-47 comes in, his mom picks up the phone and calls the Allen Police Department. I have no idea what my son needs with this firearm. And she may have signaled some other distress in the home. Allen PD says to her, you know what? There is nothing we can do. Good luck, you're on your own. He drives at 650 miles, kills 23 people in a matter of minutes in a town where nearly 1 million people strong in El Paso, in a town that doesn't lose 20 people to murder on an average year. A red flag law would have stopped that. Last one. It's called a universal background check. You might say, look, Beto, I just bought a firearm from a gun shop owner. I had to go through a background check. And you'd be right. But if you buy it from a private seller, you don't have to do the same thing because we don't have a universal background check. A month after the El Paso shooting in 2019, a guy goes into a gun shop in the Midland Odessa community, tries to buy an AR-15, doesn't pass a background check. Great, it works. But because we don't have a universal background check, he goes to a private seller, buys the exact same firearm, no questions asked. Nobody in that community is the wiser or the safer for it. Turns around and uses it to kill 8 people in that community. Ladies and gentlemen, I have met the survivors of every single one of these tragedies. They're Republicans, they're Democrats. They're folks, in some cases, who have never voted or considered themselves politically involved before. They are begging us to do something. They don't want any other family to experience the grief and the sorrow and the loss that they will live through every single day for the rest of their lives. So I propose, on behalf of our kids in those classrooms, that we step up and do the right thing, defend the Second Amendment, and better protect the lives of the people in our lives. You all with me on this? Can we get this done?